Okay, so we're talking about stoichiometry. So stoichiometry just means basically the math or the arithmetic of chemistry. So we've talked about the chemistry before. We've talked about how we need to have balanced equations. We talked about how moles and molar mass work. This is putting it all together. So basically, when we use the arithmetic of equations, we're balancing equations to make like a recipe. So it tells you where to start with and what you end with. So with stoichiometry, the calculation of quantities is in a chemical equation. So you have to talk about the balances between those moles of different things. So for instance, when we interpret those, a balanced chemical equation tells you the following information. It tells you how many moles of each of these you have and how many of each substance is in each thing. So for instance, we have our elements hydrogen and iodine to make hydrogen, or hydrodiic acid. Uh, Now, when we talk about the coefficients, we're talking about the number of moles for each one. So we don't have coefficients in front of our first two, so there are one each, and then we have 2 in front of our HI. So mass to calculate with the molar mass of each side, and then we have to figure out the volume, which at standard temperature and pressure, you have 1 mole of gas. So that's going to be 22.4 liters for every mole of gas. So mass conversions, we take our mass in atoms are conserved in every chemical reaction, and the amount of reactants is always equal to the opposite amount. So the law of conservation of mass says that you can neither create nor destroy mass of an object. So it has to go somewhere. So the amount of reactants is always equal to the amount of products. So your mass on one side is always going to equal the mass on the other. The number of atoms on one side is always going to equal to the other. Same thing goes for gas or liters of gas at standard at STP. Now, so this just tells us the arithmetic of our equations. This tells us that things are going to balance on both sides. We know this when we balance our equations. So going into the math of it is the next section, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow. See, very short lesson for today. That's all you need. Let me know if you have any questions.